win into the mix, and then Arsenal found themselves in a position of really putting in a very good shift against Newcastle. The game ended through to where Max Dorman went ahead to obviously dominate that game to the fullest, and guess what? Things really went on well in there for you. Now they return to England, and their first game that they are playing in England is going to be played today at the Emirates Stadium. If you know, you know. It's going to be played today at the Emirates Stadium, and they're going to be hosting Villarreal, another Spanish side in what we call the Emirates Cup in there for you today. So Arsenal comes into this game of football when very many Arsenal fans are eagerly waiting for a player known as Victor Gyokeres and what he can obviously offer onto the field of play today. And as you see the title, Gyokeres Victor is expected to start. And one of my live streamers, that is Inziku Cosmos, says, why not live RD? Good evening. I'm here, and I hope you guys are really ready to obviously move on with me as we obviously preview this game, as we wait for what Arteta will name in his starting 11 and see whether we've gone ahead to obviously match or read the mind of Mikel Arteta right. So, where should we start from? Let's start from the team news. For the side of Arsenal are really having almost every player there. I think it's only Gabriel Jesus that is not up for selection this time around. But you can obviously find yourself in a position of really seeing Julian Timber, Gabriel Magalhaes, and Ricardo Carafiori. Those are some of the doubts, but I know they can obviously come in through, and Gabriel Jesus is still away for the months. So when you look at the side of Arsenal, this is the game where they're obviously going to be testing their squad. You know, like Arteta has these two games, today and on Sunday, when Arsenal is playing Atletico Bilbao and Villarreal respectively. Arsenal has all what it takes to obviously test their big team in there for you and see to it that those permutations, combinations, and simulations obviously really come into what we call a fine bond that can really lead to Arsenal being one of the hardest teams to beat in the Premier League. So if you've been following this channel for some time, I always told you that you wait and see players like Zubimendi, but Arsenal is really going to be doing the needful. And for the side of Villarreal, they are obviously having a Nicolas Pepe in there for you, and most of the players are readily available. But for the side of Villarreal again, that's where Thomas Partey is going to be playing next season. I tell you what, Thomas Partey is going to be playing at Villarreal next season. But don't forget that he cannot feature in the game of football today. He cannot feature into that beautiful game of football today. Reason being, they haven't gone ahead obviously contact the medical and so on and so forth, and is not a registered Villarreal player. But when he gets registered, I tell you what, all will move on as planned. So feel free to go into the comment section and tell me your thoughts about this beautiful game of football, and you can obviously tell me who do you want to see start into the starting 11 for the club of Arsenal, because here onto the Rokani Media Football, we've already gone ahead to make our permutations. The game of football is going to be happening in Emirates Stadium or at Emirates Stadium, and it capacitates 60,704 people in there. So it's the Emirates Cup and it's the match preview. That's why I tell you to obviously smash the like button and see how things really go on and really thrive in there. So let's start it off with a system that Arteta is obviously going to be using. Arteta is a man who is spoiled for a 4-3-3 system always, and he rarely changes that system. And let's go to the pitch and see how things are really going to be panning out. Now, who is obviously going to be starting in goal? I went ahead to see very many people criticizing criticizing David Raya for the game of Spurs, and I was like, do people understand the game of football very well? Because you can't tell me that you can come out and blame this guy after he went ahead and obviously passed that ball to, is it Lewis Kelly? And it's Lewis Kelly who went ahead obviously misplaced that ball, and the keeper hadn't obviously gone back to his goal line, and they looked that ball and it went into the back of the net. And I went ahead to see people blaming this David Raya guy, and I was like, really? Really? Do these people know the ball? You know, let's obviously have Raya in goal. For me, I believe David Raya has proven himself beyond reasonable doubt as one of the best goalkeepers at Arsenal. And I think you all agree with me that the lad is really on fire. You understand? He's really on fire, and no one is obviously going to be stopping him from obviously getting himself to where he deserves to be as a goalkeeper. That is David Raya for you. And I think Kepa Arrizabalaga might get in some minutes as usual off the bench, maybe for the 45 minutes or for the last 30 minutes, meaning that he might be coming in through for what we call the 60th or the hour. At the hour mark, that's when he'll obviously be seen coming in through into the mix. So that's all about the guy known as David Raya. Right back, I think, with Julian Timber trying to obviously come and suit in very well, I see a player known as Benjamin White retaining his position that he has always gone ahead to play in ever since this preseason went ahead to start. And remember, for the vast majority of last season, it was all about a player known as Julian Timber playing into that right back, even when Benjamin White was fully fit. And what went ahead to obviously help him really thrive into this is when Benjamin White went ahead to obviously get an injury, and Julian Timber went ahead to establish himself as the right back. When Ben White was there, the manager used to obviously try to play Julian Timber as a left back and Ben White as a right back. But after he really went ahead to get an injury, the lad known as Julian Timber took over that position. And now Julian Timber is really trying to get back from injury, and the manager is like, all right, let's obviously get in a player known as Ben White to play into that position. Left back, this is the position that is really highly competed for at the club of Arsenal, because they have the following players that can play as left backs: Ricardo Carafiori, Jakub Kiwior, Zinchenko, Julian Timber, and Lewis Skelly. And last season, the hell-end graduate, that is Lewis Skelly, went ahead to obviously show everyone that this is my position, no one can obviously get me out of this position. And guess what happened? He is really the guy that went ahead to announce himself as the first choice left back for the club of Arsenal. And I think even today, he's obviously going to be played as a left back in there. And by the way, for the most of the games that preseason played in Asia, he played off the bench. And I think the manager was really reserving him because he knows to it that the player had already gone ahead to prove him right, that he is the ideal left back for the club of Arsenal. So we wait for Lewis Skelly and see how he'll obviously coming through to put in a very huge shift altogether. Then in the central defense, I believe that Mosquera will start, because Gabriel Magalhaes would have gone ahead to start, is just trying to obviously come from injury. Kiwior is there fully fit, but his future is really undecided, and there is no reason as to why you use a player whose future is undecided in the preseason. Yet there is a Mosquera whom you've just gone ahead to sign, and you are willing to obviously see to it that you really integrate him into the team. Then Mosquera alongside who? Alongside the Rolls Royce William Saliba, obviously. That is my probable back five for the club of Arsenal, and we'll wait to see how or whether it will obviously come to pass as anticipated. Then we go to the midfield. The system is 4-3-3. We go to the anchorman, the box-to-box midfielder, and the creative midfielder. Now, let's start off with the CDM. You understand? The CDM, Declan Rice can play as a CDM at Arsenal. Zubimendi can play as a CDM. Merino can, and even Nogard can play as a CDM at the club of Arsenal. Someone is whispering me a name known as Lokonga. I think Lokonga is there with Arsenal. And I think this summer, Lokonga will obviously seek a permanent move away from Arsenal. That is it. So, the side of Arsenal will be having a player known as I think Nogard plays very well, but I believe the manager will obviously try to start a player known as Martin Zubimendi into that position, because Zubimendi is well versed with the La Liga, and the manager also wants to see to it that his side obviously gets to where he wants it to be in as far as the team bonding is really concerned. And I think for the very first time, we are going to see this manager play his ideal starting 11 today. And I think Zubimendi is a replacement of Thomas Partey. And all I understand is the side of Arsenal will see Zubimendi play to that position. And he brings in the modernity in the anchorman position as a player. And today, look out for this guy because he is really exceptional and you'll thank me later. Arsenal fans, I've already told you, Zubimendi is the lad that you're supposed to obviously look at, and with him, your future is bright in that midfield. Now, alongside who? Alongside Declan Rice as a box-to-box midfielder into that system of Arteta, we anticipate that Declan Rice will come in through to play alongside there to obviously come and really cover those spaces and really help Zubimendi a little bit better. Number 10, the manager has already started Waneri, but I believe this time round it's going to be Martin Odegaard into the mix. For Martin midfield for the club of Arsenal in the coming while in there for you. So, for the club of Arsenal today, I anticipate that a lot will obviously come to pass and nothing will obviously forsake them. As a club of Arsenal, they'll obviously put in a very huge shift altogether. And I'm just excited for this game. I don't know how many guys are really excited for this, but we obviously gonna be really getting into the mix. And at exactly 8 p.m, a lot will obviously be happening and Arsenal will be really doing the needful as you see that squad in there. Let's go to the 3 forwards that Arteta is most likely to flaunt today into this particular fixture. Obviously, Bukayo Saka, right forward, that is really assured. And I think Noni Madueke will give him a chance for that position in the coming while, especially if at all Noni Madueke finds himself in a position of really getting fit and convincing the manager of Arsenal that he's really ready to go and ready to rumble for the club of Arsenal in these coming games. But right now, I don't see him as one of those players that will start. I see Bukayo Saka starting, and I can obviously say that he might obviously come off the bench as a Madueke in there for you. But for now, I believe that a player known as Bukayo Saka will start onto that side, and we wait to see how he obviously performs. On the left, obviously, as Arsenal looks in for an Ebelechi Eze or any other player, we all anticipate that Gabriel Martinelli will start as a left forward. And I even believe that even if Trossard was fully fit and ready to go, the manager would have gone ahead to go for a player known as Martinelli. That's what I really believe, that the manager would have gone ahead to go in for a player known as Martinelli. So, from that, we obviously have to go to a man who leads the line. There is Kai Havertz and there is Victor Gyokeres. And I think if I'm the manager of Arsenal, I obviously play a player known as Gyokeres to lead the line, because all I need him to do is to fit into the team of Arsenal. And he has come here known to be a bench player. He has come here to obviously elevate the club of Arsenal and really take it to where we want to be. So for me, that is my probable starting 11. I don't know what your thoughts are about it, but I think the manager of Arsenal will obviously go strong and will go in for that. I don't know what your thoughts are about it, but I think the manager of Arsenal will obviously go for that probable starting 11. Gyokeres, Zubimendi, and Mosquera to start. 3 of his signings are expected to get into the team. And the rest, Nogard, Kepa Zebalaga, Nogard, Kepa Azebalaga, who else? There are 3. There's Arsenal has made 6 signings, not so. So Kepa Zebalaga, Nogard, and Madueke will obviously wait in a little bit for the side known as Arsenal, and that's where we anticipate everything will obviously be moving on to the full. So I don't know what your thoughts are about this, but that's my probable starting 11. Feel free to go into the live chat like many others have gone ahead to do, and they've gone ahead to obviously tell me what their thoughts are. Faith Ronald Okello, hello Rokani, hello Faith. Zuma Richard, good evening, Aradi. Thanks. The update. I like you too. Then Bud says, good evening, Aradi. Thanks for the updates. I think it's time for Gyokeres to show his potential and prove the world. Arsenal 3, Villarreal 1. Oh, I haven't gone ahead to obviously put in my prediction, but I think Arsenal will win by 4-1. I don't know what your thoughts are, but Arsenal will put 4 goals past Villarreal easily today in there. David Sozi says, thanks bro for your time and effort. Yeah, thank you too for obviously being one of the people that has on several occasions been here with this channel. Then Opio Kenneth, good evening bro, good evening Opio. David Sozi, I want to see Victor Gyokeres. All right, you're obviously gonna be seeing him today. David Sozi, I want to see Victor Gyokeres. Peter Bagonza says, hey Rokani, hey Peter. Bud says, I would like to see Max Dohman start the game, Kepa in goal, and also Mosquera. For real, these are gems in football. Come on, you Gunners. Now, I don't think that Max Dohman has reached a level to start a game. Guys, let's let the guy develop, and let's not pile out of pressure onto the guy. That's where you people get it wrong. You know, these youngsters need time. Like, you see how they're really building onto a player known as Waneri. I really like what Arteta is doing with Waneri. He's really holding him with care. You understand? He's not obviously trying to rush him into something that he won't even manage. So for me, I believe Arteta is doing a very rightful job in there for you. Then I'm having a Faith Okello. I think Arteta should start Nogard, Rice, and Waneri in that midfield, then Madueke in the left wing. Some people really saying that Arteta might obviously play Madueke as a right forward and Bukayo Saka as a left forward, because we all know to it that Saka first played as a left forward, left back, before he obviously got initiated into the right forward position, meaning that he has all the minerals and spices and ingredients that can obviously see him really get well into that position. So we wait to see whether the manager obviously do, but that will come in through when Madueke really does the needful and really keeps going. In Zico Cosmos, if Arsenal get Eze, how do you think that Arsenal is going to line up? And do you think that Arsenal can win EPL or USL this season? Thanks for keeping you going. God bless you. All right, now Cosmos, I want to let you know that the club of Arsenal, when they bring in Ebelechi Eze will obviously be played as a left forward. And I think in this system that Arteta is trying to build with a guy known as Gabriel Heinz, the mobility is really going to be huge. And I just imagine how people will obviously cope, whether people will cope up with that midfield of Arsenal. You know, if you look at the mobility of the front three, if you're having Eze, Saka, and a Gyokeres, you know, you'll obviously see lots of movements. You'll see an Eze coming in the central axis, Odegaard maybe moving wide or moving centrally, and Gyokeres moving on the left, as Saka also can obviously interchange. So I just can't wait to see how this team is obviously gonna be moving around. You understand? But all I think is they have the best chemistry that they've gone ahead to come up with to obviously win the trophy. And I tell you, my favorites to win the Premier League are Arsenal. That is it. Arsenal. 3 times knocking on the door. I think it's high time they lifted a trophy. That is it. However much other teams have gone ahead to obviously do the needful and really strengthened, oh my God, I think Arsenal have gone ahead to do the needful. Cosma says, good lineup. I'm seeing easy win if we play like that. Obviously, they'll obviously have an easy win if at all they obviously do the needful. Then, Okware, update on AZ Hill to Arsenal. Arsenal are still preparing the bid of Ebelechi Eze, but anytime soon it will go in. Mubarak says, Mr. Aradi, big up sir. White, tell me about the situation of Timber and Gabriel Magalhaes. They are in training, they are back in training, and I think the manager doesn't want to rush them because he really has a very big squad. There is no reason to obviously rush those players in when you really have a very, very, very big squad that can obviously help you thrive and really take you through the rest of the season. And for that, I'm obviously going to be flashing a little bit of those photos of how these players went ahead to really train at what we call the Soboha Reality Training Center. You understand? So we'll be waiting to see how that really pans out in here, and seeing how these players really went ahead to obviously come out and really train in there. Not really a moment. Something is not okay in here. Right. We'll obviously flash them a little bit and show you how these players of Arsenal are here to obviously train and see whether you guys will obviously get the impression. Now, who is the other guy that is going to hit obviously talk onto the live chat? We are having Emmanuel Simukonda. Let victory start this game, right? David Sozi Rokani. What is wrong with Eze deal, bro? Arsenal really trying to obviously structure the bid to see to it that it's really undeniable. That's what Arsenal is really doing right now. Then Agriculture World Happiness. Hey Rokani, watching from Denmark. Arsenal win, prayers to Sesko when he finishes his transfer. You are saying you are calling it for an Arsenal win, and you are like, prayers to Sesko when he finishes his transfer. Sesko to Man United is one of those deals that is going to be happening. I think today we might get a here we go or tomorrow for the deal of Sesko. But all I want to let you know is that Arsenal will win today against a side known as Villarreal. Then I'm having Cosmas Nyanamba. Good evening, bro. Keep on watching. I keep on watching you from Doha, Denmark, Doha. So we are all over the world. The world is really watching. Then Richard Oponya. Big up Rokan David. Thank you for the updates. Your lineup is really very, very good. Thank you, guys. Let's wait and see how it obviously gets on the pitch at Emirates later today. Buire Maiko. We need Eze and Rafael. Not really, that's an overdose. And I don't know why people talk about Rafael. I think Rafael is this kind of player who has failed to obviously get to know that the world has huge expectations for him and he should obviously get serious. You know, he's selfish. He wants to run so much with the ball. I think for me, Eze or Rodrigo serve a better purpose for Arsenal than Rafael. He's a very good player, but he hasn't gone ahead to convince me that he has reached a level to play at the club known as Arsenal. I would rather an Eze or a Rodrigo in there. Richard Oponya, I'm enjoying the show. Thank you for enjoying the show. But smash like, and guy, buy super chats to support this channel, please. Buy super chats. David Sozi, Rokani Raya made every big mistake while Saliba was there. No. I don't really think that it was a mistake of Raya. I don't know why people think that Raya went ahead obviously do that mistake. You know, he passed the ball to Lewis Kelly. You know, and Lewis Kelly had all the audacity to pass that ball back to the goalkeeper. But he tried, I think, to make a turn that was unrequired. That is it. And Raya, for me, never really did any mistake. Bud says, I'm worried today if Gyokeres doesn't score today. No, he's going to saturate today. Even if he doesn't score today, guys, even if he doesn't score today, he will score. Let me give you an example. United, in the summer of 2023, they went ahead to bring in Rasmus Højlund. It took Rasmus Højlund 10 Premier League goals to get his first Premier League goal. Though in the Champions League was scoring, but in the Premier League was not scoring. But do you know what happened when Rasmus Højlund started to score? He never stopped, not until he got an injury. I think he went ahead to score in 7 consecutive Premier League games. You know? So, Gyokeres hasn't fit well into the squad. I think this is the second week he's training with the club of Arsenal. You understand? He needs to obviously fit well into the system, and I think people are really not getting him right. But even if he doesn't score, those banters will be there. But I tell you what, time will come for him to obviously score and really win. Faith or Ronald Okello. Yes, Aradi, I love you so much. Bro, I'm live from Turkey. Keep going, I'm here. But Arteta, Martinelli is just wastage of time because Madueke is better than that on the right wing. But I don't think that Martinelli plays on the right wing. Martinelli plays on the left wing. And that's why Arsenal needs to get in another player. You know, I think let Madueke tussle it out with Saka, and we see how things will obviously pan out into that side. Talk Technologies, what do you think of Madueke at Arsenal Rokani? he's going to be one of those players that's obviously going to shock many of you who really came out and really blasted him, you ridiculed him, as he cannot obviously be that ideal player to come into and live the needful. But I tell you what, the lad is really good. He's really good, you know, he's really good, and I know he might be one of those players that he will obviously eat the humble pie for if he really thrives. And I'm 90% sure that he'll obviously thrive at the club known as Arsenal. Emmanuel Simukonda, if Arteta failed to buy Rodrigo, let him buy Xavi Simons. This is good for Arsenal. By the way, even I rate Xavi Simons ahead of Rafael Leao. I could rather get in as Xavi Simons, Ole Rodrigo, Holland Ebelechi Eze ahead of a player known as Rafael Leao. I think Rafael Leao is a good player, but he's really very playful on the ball, you know. He doesn't play business. Yet in this era, all we need is a guy who can obviously come in through and play business. You understand? That's what we all need, you know. So we are here to wait and see how things will pan out for the club of Arsenal in this encounter. But I would rather get in a Xavi Simons other than a Rafael Leao. Thank you, Emmanuel Simukonda. But looks like Chelsea is ahead of this transfer, and they want to bring in a player known as Xavi Simons in there for you. Who else do we have? We're having Faith Okello. He's saying that, but only to say Kepa can deliver what we all need, and so is Zubimendi. Obviously, these players will deliver. I don't know why you guys are really so much hard onto them and you're doubtful about them. They're really a very good side, and that side can obviously really do the needful into the mix. So, as it stands right now, I cannot really say that Arsenal is really set for the season well, not until these two games have gone ahead to be played. And when these two games are really played, then we'll obviously come up here and really let you know that it's done and dusted for this side of Arsenal. I want to see the triangles, I want to see the passes, I want to see the movements, I want to see the starting 11 that Arteta will obviously name today. That's when I'll obviously come up with my resolution about this team. But I'd love to see this happen. Zakaria Ibrahim says, Rokani, keep it up. I love your sports talks. Thank you. Zakaria says, watching in from Villarreal. Guys, we're having Denmark, Qatar, Turkey, Villarreal all watching. So the entire world is watching us. And guys, continue to subscribe because we want to hit 30,000 subscribers. If you're watching us for the very first time, do the needful. And if at all you want to support this channel, you can as well become a member. I think it's just $3 a month. You know, become a member for this channel and support us to see to it that a lot goes our way. Faith Ronaldo Kello. You see, already Arteta should not let Nelson go, but instead Martinelli should be sold. We all saw the touches he had in recent games. By the way, there is a play in Reece Nelson, but I don't know why Arteta doesn't recognize it. I think Arteta is drunk in love with the player known as Martinelli. But I think there is a much more better player in Reece Nelson than Gabriel Martinelli. That is it. Mutangizi Julius, thanks for the presentation, Mr. Aradi. Thank you for watching through. Faith Okello. But for Raya, what he did, he had his best and cleared off to the midfield, and his work is done. But it's all about what we call game awareness, you know. You have to really have your scans on. Who do you have behind? And I think that's what Lewis Kelly never did. All he needed was obviously scan and really get to know that all I need is to do what we call a double pass to David Raya. That is it. I think that's what he had to do, you know. And I don't pile any blame onto David Raya. I tell you this. Abdul Sheikh Joseph, please put live, bro. We are fed up with these broadcasting channels. What are you talking about? I haven't gone ahead, obviously, understand what you're saying, that you're fed up of these broadcasting channels. You want me to obviously come live on a daily. I'll try. And remember today, I'll come with another live as I really tell you the confirmed starting 11 for the club of Arsenal and so on and so forth. Then I'm having Balam says, watching you from Minnesota, USA. I like your podcast. Thank you for watching in through. So even USA is really watching, you know, it shows you how far we are really shooting. Guys, we are really making it, right? We are making it. Then I'm having Wachenga Matayo. I don't know if I'm just biased about Trossard, but I think he's so wasteful on the pitch. That's your opinion, but it's not a fact. Because in life, you have an opinion and a fact. Now, it's your opinion, but you go and really watch out on the stats of Trossard ever since he came in through at Arsenal. No left forward at Arsenal has gone ahead, obviously, perform like that guy. He's not there. He's not there. Let no one lie to you. Damian Ayeka, please, what time is the match? It's 20 hours and, you know, it's like 8 p.m. That is it, depending on where you're watching it from. Go ahead and obviously put in 20 hours. That's when you obviously get to know what time it will be. Damian Ayeka, I'm having Cosmos. Why don't you make all the video live like this? I'm going to try to obviously feed you with like 1 or 2 lives on a daily. Nathaniel Monen, good evening from Belgium. Oh, Belgium is in. So guys, I thank God for this, because if it's not him, wouldn't have gone ahead to be here and our ancestors in there. Who else? Having in here Faith Okello, but all in all, Martinelli should be sold and be replaced by Eze, cause all now we all know what Eze can deliver. Obviously, Eze is really a different kind of breed altogether, and I like him, and I think the player has gone ahead to obviously choose Arsenal over any other sides into the mix. So from there, let's obviously see who else is into the comment section. Victor Yuji says, watching you from Kenya. Oh, East Africa is in. And Adieri Kakumba. Already, where is Yaya Sanogo? Yaya Sanogo was one of those players that really came in through at the club of Arsenal, and he played for the Arsenal under-23, and he was really a good player. And as we speak right now, he's playing to the Armenian League for a side known as Uratu. That's where he's really playing now. You understand? So he plays for the Armenian Premier League. That's where he is right now. So that's it. And he's 32 years of age. Thank you guys for watching in through. Who else has gone ahead to throw in something here? Adieri Kangumba. Hey Rokani, how are you? Isak replacement is Wisa. Should sign for Newcastle United now that Benjamin Sesko signed for Newcastle United. Now, I haven't gone ahead to understand you. But Isak replacement will either be Oli Watkins, Wisa, or Nicholas Jackson. That is it. Benjamin Sesko has chose Man United over Newcastle. That is it. Faith Ronald Okello says, you know what, Aradi, on the deal of Victor Gyokeres, before I had a here we go, bro, I thank you so much, bro. You know your channel is the channel I'm watching every day. Regards to you from the people of Turkey. All right, people from Turkey, thank you for watching it through. But please buy super chats and also become members. You know, for this channel, you can easily support us and see to it that we obviously go through all of this. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Arsenal prediction from here right now. The prediction of Arsenal. My mind tells me that Arsenal is obviously gonna run riot in there, and they will obviously cause havoc to the side of Villarreal. That's what I really think, and I know it's also gonna happen. Arsenal at Emirates are obviously gonna really destroy and tear them apart. So let's go to the players and how they trained yesterday ahead of this encounter that we are all waiting for. That is Kai Havertz and Saliba. It's gonna be really a rush in there for you. This is Salmon and Julian Timber. That is Odegaard, Mosquera and Martinelli. Gabriel Magalhaes, you see, for anyone who was really asking about his fitness levels, was part of the training session. Don't be shocked if at all he comes in through. Jakub Kivio behind Odegaard, and Odegaard at the forefront. Rice and Mikel Arteta obviously doing the needful. Lewis Skelly obviously there. Bukayo Saka there. You see Waneri, Lewis Skelly and Mosquera in there. And the two hell-end graduates, we are really sharing a word at that side. Mosquera in there training with the club of Arsenal. Gabriel Magalhaes too was part of the training session as they pressed Reiss Nelson with Martin Zubimendi. There came in a player known as Madueke, as you see him there training with the club of Arsenal. Kai Havertz and Nogard into the mix, into that training session. Odegaard and Mosquera obviously in there. David Raya in there. Waneri, you understand. You see Zubimendi in the mix. Victor Gyokeres, the new number 9 for the club of Arsenal, who puts on shirt number 14 into the mix. This is Bukayo Saka taking on a William Saliba in there for you. And who went in air with Waneri? Looks like a familiar face of Zubimendi in there, as Merino and Saliba tussled it out in there. Max Dorman, the man that everyone is really talking about, was all smiles in there, as Gyokeres was trying to beat Mosquera to try and really score. Saka going in for a shot at goal during the training session yesterday, and that is a player known as Julian Timber, obviously being pressed by a one and only Mikel Merino. Kai Havertz doing what he does best all onto that pitch. Then we are having a one and only Gabriel Magalhaes back in the training session of Arsenal, and that is the lad as you see him there. Arteta and Waneri, Arteta, Madueke and Julian Timber. Then Madueke obviously trying to go in for those shots at goal, and some directions being issued by Mikel Merino on the pitch. Then Max Dorman and Waneri, another academy player with an hell-end graduate. Madueke in there, first training session with the club of Arsenal. There comes a player known as Nogard into the mix, watching on, and that is Madueke all smiles. Mosquera obviously trying to stretch out, as Waneri laughs with a player known as Julian Timber. Then Zubimendi stretching all out wide to see to it that he really gets where he deserves to be, and that is Mikel Merino into the mix, smiling. Saka, Magalhaes, Ben White and Reiss Nelson all smiles, and that was the winning team of the day that had Kepa Arrizabalaga, Zubimendi, I see Waneri, I see Martinelli, Gabriel Magalhaes, I see Kai Havertz, I see Benjamin White, and I see the one and only Lewis Skelly. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. That's what we had for you here onto the Rokani Media Football, and I think let me deal with this, then I obviously do the needful. Come on, you Gunners. Rokani, you are looking so young. Keep it up from Nigeria. That is Govina. All right, thank you for your compliment. Then Adieri Kagumba. Hey, Rokani, how are you? Isak replacements should be Wisa. All right, thank you. Then from Belgium, Monen, come on, you Gunners. Then Kenneth O'Mara, thank already for the presentation. This team, Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli all should pull up their stockings. Yeah, they should obviously elevate, because they should continue to score goals and really give Arsenal more options of scoring goals, and that will help Arsenal to obviously win more games and really win the trophy. Let them not put pile all the task onto one player known as Victor Gyokeres. Then I'm having Brother Tom. Brother Tom, following you live from Dubai. Thank you for the great job you're doing. Thank you very much. Then Victor Yogi, Odegaard is the greatest problem in Arsenal. He's too slow. Then you don't know the game. You don't know the game. If you call Odegaard slow, guys, you don't know the game. He's the driver of that team. You know, he's the driver, and it makes most of the players that play around him better. Faith Ronald Okello, already update on Carl Hayne. I need to do that much about it. I'm not well versed about Carl Hayne right now. Moses Kenneth, no matter what you may say about Martinelli, he's a good player, left winger. I expect Eze to be a reserve for Martinelli. Eze will bench Martinelli. If Trossard is going to have to bench Martinelli, what of Eze? You know? Adieri Kagumba. Hey Rokani, how are you? Isak replacement is Wissa to Newcastle. All right. Let's wait and see. Faith Ronald Okello, how can we get the membership? You go on to, when you go onto the channel, have I turned on the membership button? Have I turned the membership button? Let me check. Let me check here. I think membership button is on. You know, you can become members on this channel. Let me obviously see here. Let me try to figure it out. Memberships. I think the membership button is on. You know, you go into the video, you see where there is subscribe, there is a membership button, and then you will obviously subscribe. You know, you'll obviously subscribe. The membership button is on, guys. Go ahead, below the video, you see where there is subscribe, there is the word become a member, you know, and then you can obviously do the needful and really support this channel. Then Omar Lois, will Gyokeres be able to in the starting 11? I think so. He's obviously gonna be doing live from Namaiba bus terminal. All right, thank you. That is Uganda. Monen says great young players. Yeah, that is it. John J Johnson, thank you. Gunners. All right. Buire Michael, Rokani, Ateta's tactic don't. He has gone ahead to bring in Gabriel Haynes, and I think he brought him for a reason. And Gabriel Haynes is willing to is going to transform this club of Arsenal to the next level. Then Omar Lewis, Rokani, why do Leipzig refuse to cut the price for Arsenal, and when United offered them, it's like they have lowered the price? But I think Arsenal was not willing to pay 80 or 90 million euros. That deal for Sesko to Man United will cost United close to 90 million euros. And Arsenal was not willing to pay that amount of money for even Gyokeres because they're not willing to meet the 80 million euro valuation from Sporting Lisbon. So it shows you that Arsenal were really willing to offer close to, I think, 70 million euros, you know, and they're like, we can't go that north of 80, 90. You understand? More information of Eze transfer, please. Arsenal is still structuring the bid of Eze, but Eze has gone ahead to choose Arsenal over any other team that has gone ahead to show interest in signing the player. You understand? So that is it. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. We come to the end of this live session, and I'm going to be recording a video in the next 30 minutes. You know, I'm going to be uploading it there. Then later we'll come up with what we call the match day live, and that will happen like 1.5 hours from now when the lineups are really out, and then we'll obviously come up with the match reaction later when the game really comes to an end. But remember, we have a TikTok account, Rokani Media Football. That's our TikTok home. You can follow us on X because you cannot come and do videos for everything that has gone ahead to happen in the day, but at X a lot happens there. So we out. Bye bye and see you later. What time is the game? 20 hours or 8 p.m. Arsenal hosting Villarreal at the Emirates. It's a 5 fingers to everyone watching in through from all over the world. We are conquering.